Hi everyone, welcome to Nature Studies. Today I have some great news. Our praying mantis is hatched. I got some video of the praying mantises hatching, and I'm going to show you at the end of this video. I recorded the praying mantises in the jar that we had them in after they hatched, and I also recorded releasing them in my backyard, and I'll show those at the end of the video. But before we watch those, let's talk about praying mantises a little bit. There are over 2,400 species of praying mantises in the world. There's a couple different species in Virginia, but the most common are the Carolina mantis and Chinese mantis. Now these two species are the most common, but only one of them is native to the state of Virginia. The other one is a non-native species, which means that it was either brought here on accident or on purpose, but it does not occur here naturally. The Carolina mantis is native to this area and most of the surrounding states, while the Chinese mantis was brought here on accident in 1896 by someone working at a nursery for plants in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Chinese mantis, as you may have guessed from the name, is native in China. The life cycle for our praying mantises will start in the spring when they hatch from their ootheca. The praying mantises will molt about 12 times before they're considered an adult. And then once they're an adult, they'll go on and mate. And they'll live for around 3 to 8 months. Most praying mantis species only live for about 1 year. Praying mantises can actually be very helpful. They like to eat pest insects, things like hornets and spiders, and things that you don't really want around your house or in your garden. You may have heard this before, but praying mantises are often cannibals. A baby praying mantis's first meal is often one of its siblings. The female will sometimes, not always, eat the male after they've mated. On Sunday, March 3rd, our baby praying mantises hatched early in the morning. I'm not sure exactly when they started hatching because I went to bed. I checked on them around 11 and they hadn't hatched yet. At 2 a.m. when I got up to go to the bathroom and get some water, I looked over from my sink and I saw them hatching. Once I saw them hatching, I made sure I got a video of them for you. I didn't count exactly how many there were in the jar, but I'd say there was probably 150 to 200 in the jar. So I took the praying mantises to free them outside, but before I did that, I took out about 10 babies and put them in a little terrarium that I have. This is the terrarium I have them in right now. They have a little bit of grass, they have some paper towels for climbing on and adding moisture. So I'll wet the paper towel and put that in, because if I just put a bowl of water, they're likely drowned in the water. Feeding them has actually been really difficult right now because not a lot of stores have prey small enough for these babies. I found some small insects and little mites around in my potted plants, so I put those in here hoping that the babies will eat them instead of each other. I'm not sure how many are in here now, but I know that a few have died. So I'm going to leave the baby praying mantises alone, but I'll continue to add food and a little bit of water every single day to make sure that they're getting the nutrients they need. So I got some video of the praying mantises in their jar and then releasing them in my backyard. So let's watch those now. So as you can see, there are a lot of praying mantises in there, and that's actually not all of them. They're still coming out in this video. So here's a nice little spin of the jar so you can see. If you look in the paper towel, you can see that there are so many in the crease of the paper towel and towards the bottom. So to release them, we went in the backyard and we set down the jar and just let them sit there. We took off the lid from the jar and sat it in our backyard so that the praying mantises could easily climb out and they wouldn't be super stressed from me trying to dump them out into the backyard. We left the jar there overnight. The next morning I went out to the jar to check on it and see if they were all gone, and they had all left except for one. So I took that one baby praying mantis and put it in with the rest of them. So I was looking at the baby praying mantises and I was trying to figure out what species they were before I released them, because you don't want to release Chinese praying mantises into the wild because they're technically invasive and they're not native to the area, so you're not allowed to release non-native species. So looking at the babies, I am almost certain that they are Carolina mantises, but I am not an entomologist and I don't have a lot of experience identifying baby praying mantises. But from what I can tell, they seem to be Carolina. So when the babies hatched, I looked at them to try to identify what type of praying mantis they were, if they were a Chinese praying mantis or a Carolina mantis. I wasn't 100% sure, so I asked my friend who was working on her PhD in entomology, which is the study of insects, if they were the Carolina mantis or the Chinese mantis. I didn't want the babies to eat each other, and I was almost 100% sure that they were Carolina praying mantises, so I released them in my backyard, and then the next morning my friend messaged me back and told me that she thinks they're Carolina mantises as well. Alright, that's all for this episode. I'll see you next week.